There is a disturbing trend happening in anime, I've noticed, and while I understand why it exists, that does not necessarily mean that I have to agree with it. As many of you know, the majority of anime that exist in the world today are adaptations. Adaptations of manga, of light novels, of visual novels, etc. The anime does not come first. It is not what introduces the story to the world. For a very long time now, we have had the occasional anime series that has ended in such a way that it forces the viewer to seek out the original material for the continuing story. Now, animating that continuing story could be very expensive. It's quite the possibility. And one could also argue that most of these read the manga ending type series don't have the popularity in order to warrant a sequel. Lately, however, I've been thinking that my mindset is all wrong. It's not that the show wasn't popular enough to warrant a second season. It's that the first season's entire purpose was to drive up sales and interest in the original material. And now, if that was true, then one season is really all you need. But for a Canadian viewer like myself who has no legal avenue to read or experience these original materials, I come out of this rather annoyed, especially when the anime in question was very enjoyable. Ladies, gentlemen, and others, my name is Arcada, and welcome to Glass Reflection. Today, no game, no life. Let's jam. Let's start predictively, shall we? Here we are with two Hikikomori siblings who do nothing but lounge around all day and play games. Thankfully, they are rather good at them. So good that they are known the world over by their online alias, Blank. So good that reality starts to bend and a god from the magical fantasy world of Disboard challenges them to a simple game of chess. After determining their skill, he invites them to his world where there is no violence, no war, and everything is solved by playing games. Think about that for a moment. Guy insults your mother? Beat him in a game. Want to be mayor or perhaps king? Win the position by winning a game. Want to be the undisputed ruler of the entire world? It's simple. Never lose a game. Granted, such a feat might be next to impossible, but not so for Blank. The siblings, Sora and Shiro, have never lost a game, except to each other, and have no intention of losing in this new world that they find themselves in. So they keep gaming, and keep winning, with the stakes becoming higher and higher with each new game, but the rewards big enough to match. The goal to challenge Tet, the god of the world, to one more game. But to do this, they need to earn the right to do so by defeating all the other races that exist in Disboard, from angels to animal personifications to the gods of old. The plot to me is very similar to the standard tournament anime formula. You have main characters that are faced with challenge after challenge, but they are ultimately unbeatable. Now the main difference, of course, is that most of those shows have this semblance of tension because there's always this possibility that the characters will lose. They are not infallible. Sora and Shiro, on the other hand, are more of the mindset that the game is won before it has even begun. Sure, there are some unexpected curveballs along the way, but I don't think that they are ever completely worried that their winning streak will come to an end, which almost makes this series predictable in a way. Now, it is balanced out slightly when you change your expectations. If you know that they are going to MacGuffin their way out of the situation, don't be annoyed when they win. Instead, enjoy the journey to that win, because that is where the entertainment in this show lies. Let's start off with our mains, Sora and Shiro. If you have seen any anime involving Hikikomori characters, you know their general personality type, although it's never to the extreme as some other shows like Welcome to the NHK. So, good points. They are fun to watch, and they completely 100% fall under the kind of character that you cheer for and hope to win, whatever it is they are doing. You want to see them succeed, and it is fun to actually watch them do so. This is a good thing considering, well, they are the protagonists after all. Actually, I think Sora is the real protagonist of this series. He's the one with the most monologues and the most just plain talking time, and he's also the one that comes up with the majority of strategies. Sure, he needs Shiro around, otherwise he turns into a bumbling idiot that can't do anything, but the majority of the time, he's the one that's calling the shots. Also, I don't think that the show really respects Shiro that much, especially considering she is introduced with a panty shot. She's 11, by the way. The main draw with the characters, however, is just how apt at playing games they actually are. So much so that you know they're going to win. But with just how good they are and knowing that whoever they face is more than likely going to cheat, regardless of whatever rules the god Tet has laid down, the entertainment doesn't come from the win itself, but from how they play the game. And again, that is what you are watching the series for. And then there is Steph, princess to the human kingdom and a character I dislike quite a lot. Not because of the character herself, mind you, but there are some aspects of her personality that I find questionable. More so, I am annoyed at the role that the show has forced her to play, and how that role gets emphasized. See, when you have a main character, or in this case characters, that spend the entire show outsmarting everybody else in the room, you have to make sure that your audience doesn't get bored or confused because they can't follow along with all these logic jumps that the main characters have to pull in order to show off. Now, there are two common ways of dealing with this. One, give the main character an inner monologue. They go over the plan to themselves and explain everything in detail, which in turn informs the viewer. Another way is to have an intermediary character with which the main character explains everything to, thus allowing the audience to understand because of said explanation. Steph spends the majority of the series in the intermediary role, but what I dislike about it is how the show almost seems to enjoy making her look idiotic for not knowing things on her own and not being able to follow along, which in turn makes me feel like the show is taking a subtle jab at their audience, specifically me. Even more curious is how there are several times that the show proves she is actually a rather intelligent person, if only a bit naive, but then to have her make some rather idiotic decisions to just once again prove how smart our main characters really are. From there, the secondary characters vary, almost as if they are filling out some sort of fantasy-themed checkmark box. Elven Princess? Check. Angel? Check. Lolly Fox Girl? Check. Hell, the closest thing we have to a character that doesn't fall under some kind of fantasy stereotype because, you know, fantasy, is Kurami. Though instead of that, she happens to be, you know, a rather really big tsundere. Speaking of romantic tropes, did you know that this show only has 3 male characters? Sora, the older dog man from the Eastern Kingdom, and the god of gaming, Tet. Every other character who appears is female, almost as if this is just one big dream Sora's having, and he's filling up his own personal harem while playing games at the same time. Now granted, there's also Steph's grandfather, but he doesn't so much appear in the show because he's already dead, but my point stands. The style of the show is very, well, bright. Yeah, very bright. To its credit, I rather like this refreshing color palette. It sure beats the more standard dark tones that we are used to, and it really does help play up that this world is all about having fun. Everything is colorful and upbeat. Are you having fun, guys? Because I'm having fun! The show was produced by Madhouse, and Madhouse has always been a source of fun for me. I don't think I have yet to come across a show done by them in some way that I have not enjoyed, or at least found completely tolerable. Granted, with Batum last year, Blank Lagoon on almost infinite hiatus, and now this series, all with narrative cliffhangers as it were, as we wait for the manga to continue on, at least far enough so that we could potentially, I don't know, maybe someday have a continuing adaptation, it does make me a little more cautious when deciding whether or not to watch a Madhouse series, because, you know, I actually like endings. The music for the series is rather interesting, if only for the fact that there are 4 composers, all of whom operate under the record label Super Sweep Records. What makes this interesting is that, to add on to the whole gaming theme, is that Super Sweep, or rather the main composer for Super Sweep, Shinji Hosoe, is more well known for video game soundtracks. Tekken 6, Fate Extra, and the second episode of Xenosaga are prime examples. As for the music of the show itself, it did its job, but I usually hope for at least one track of any show to stand out as something that I can listen to on its own, and, well, I walk away from this series rather disappointed on that front. No Game No Life is a highly enjoyable show. The concept is rather brilliant, but the characters can range from brilliant to, you know, traditional cardboard cutouts, and that's not necessarily a good thing. The plot progression was solid. Even though the show is about games, they don't spend 5 episodes waiting for someone to flip over a trap card. And instead, the games themselves are rather quick. My problems with the show are simple. First, the lack of an ending. Now, I realize that the story continues, and that's not the problem. My problem is that when you end a series in such a way that it makes it seem like the last episode is the first part of a 2-parter, that's kind of a dick move. Like, if you don't have immediate plans for a sequel, for whatever reason, there are ways that you can wrap up a show without teasing a sequel that is not guaranteed. Also, second thing, make up your mind. Is Steph an idiot or actually intelligent? You can't have her suddenly drop several points in IQ just because you want the main characters to seem smarter. There has to be some consistency. Other than that, I enjoyed this show a lot. It's been many weeks since I've been able to watch a show where 4 episodes seems like only 1 episode. And after watching it, I want to watch more. So with all that in mind, I've meticulously calculated values for the categories of story, characters, animation, sound, and my own personal enjoyment, which after throwing it into a world of video games for a few days and then realizing that Xbox Live does not count, and then have to deal with it yelling expletives at me while sounding like a 9-year-old boy, has me awarding No Game No Life with an overall score of 7.64 out of 10, and a recommendation to stream it rather than buy. Honestly, with how much I enjoyed it, I was very tempted to give it a buy it rating because for what it had, it was worth it, but I'm also of the belief that you shouldn't spend money on anime that is unfinished. It's one of the reasons why I've never bought that box set of Monster that Viz Media put out a couple of years back. Because it's all episodes or nothing, Viz! Anyways, at the time of this video, No Game No Life has been licensed by Sentai Filmworks in North America, with a home video release forthcoming. However, until then, the series is also available on Crunchyroll for internet streaming if you happen to have access to that site. Speaking of, if you follow the link in the description, glassreflection.net/Crunchyroll, you can sign up for a free trial of Crunchyroll's premium services, and all the anime awesomeness that it contains, though full disclosure, you do not need a premium account to watch No Game No Life. For alternate anime recommendations, I point you towards Outbreak Company. It has a similar plot in which there is a main character who is a very heavy otaku and is brought into a fantasy world, and he now has to attempt to live his new life there. Also, secondly, for a more gamer-oriented plot, try out Log Horizon, where the fantasy world is the game itself. Between these two, you should hopefully find something to your liking. And that's it from me. Please subscribe if you enjoyed the video, follow me on Twitter if you feel so inclined, and until next time, ladies, gentlemen, and others, stay frosty.